Hi everyone. Today I have a friend of mine here whose name is Tinny. We're gonna go through Tinny's journey, who he is, where what he's doing. So let's get started. Tinny,
Awesome.
welcome. Thanks for being here, man.
Samir, I'm super excited to be here. So grateful. Thank you.
Tinny, you're amazing, bro. Let's kind of dive in. So let's
You're
talk about it.
amazing.
Who is Tinny? Like where do you come from? What's your kind of backstory?
Absolutely. So my name is Tinny Colin. I am originally born in Congo, Congo, Africa. I lived in Congo for 8 years, and then my mom and dad at the time decided that they wanted a better education for us. They wanted us to be exposed to different things, and so at the age of 8 years old, we moved to Belgium, and I lived in Belgium for 4 years. And at the time, I remember it was a huge culture shock, and but it was an amazing 4 years. Learned a ton, and of course, got a great education. And then at the age of 12, I moved to the States, in a small state called Vermont, where we're mostly known for our maple syrup and Ben and Jerry's. But it's a beautiful, gorgeous state, and lived there until I was about 22 years old. And then at the age of 22, I moved to Charlotte, North Carolina. So in the middle of the pandemic, in 2020, I moved to Charlotte. Um, and right now, I'm 25 years old, and like many of your audience, I've got a huge passion for real estate, and I started my journey 2 years ago while going to school and working a part-time job. Um, I wholesaled a handful of deals, which was all virtual at the time while living in Vermont, actually. But then when I moved to Charlotte, I was making $35,000 a year W-2 at the time, and that was before taxes. I was working a entry level customer service job, but I was able to qualify for and purchased a standard 3 bedroom, 2 bath in the C-class neighborhood in Gastonia, North Carolina. And I'm not sure if some of your viewers know, but Gastonia, North Carolina is on the come up now. But at the time, it was really it was the hood.
Didn't feel like it.
So, but I did what I had to do with what I had, and I my plan was to house hack. So I rented out 2 bedrooms, but although it was enough to cover the mortgage, it wasn't enough to cash flow, right? So um, I started thinking to myself, what can I do to, make some extra income out of this house? Um, and so I actually used the space available in my mudroom where the washer and dryer were, and I slept there for a year, right? So slept in my laundry room for a year, and then rented out the 3rd bedroom, and that allowed me to save up enough money to buy my second house, which I live in now. Um, and I have a bedroom, as you can see. I officially graduated to a bedroom, which is great. Um, and so I moved out of the Gastonia house, converted that mudroom into a bedroom. Now the house is a 4 bedroom, 2 bath, and I'm still renting out each room. Um, and you know, Samir, you and I have talked about this a bunch. Scaling with single family, for me at least, I realize that it's a nightmare, right? So I created systems and processes to target off-market multifamily properties, 5 to 50 unit ranges in the Carolinas. And 4 months ago, I got my first multifamily property on the contract. And 2 weeks ago, I officially closed on my very first multifamily property, where I plan on taking the property full cycle within 5 years.
Love it. Oh my gosh, dude. Congratulations.
Thank
Congrats,
you.
man. You deserve every bit of it, man. I know what you've been through, and we've talked about, your experiences, but that's freaking amazing, dude. Like,
Thank you, brother.
and
It's great.
so let's see. So when you got started, right? Like, it seems like you start off wholesaling, right? Which is a great way to kind of get started. right?
I agree.
It's a great way to kind of build some capital. Tell us about your first few deals. How did that look like?
Yeah.
Did you make $50,000 and become an overnight success, or
I wish, man. But the journey was amazing. I had the mentorship of my older brother, because at the time when I was living in Vermont, he was living in Charlotte, North Carolina, and he actually brought me into wholesaling because he was doing a few deals here in the Carolinas before I got started. And he sort of took me under his wing, and he taught me marketing, and he taught me how to do mailers, right? So, he taught me how to pull lists, send mailers out to homeowners. And our very first deal was a subject to. And looking back now, I wish we had actually kept it, but we ended up assigning it, making $12,000 on the assignment fee. And yeah, I didn't know what a subject to was. I just knew that there was a spread between the mortgage that was on the property and how much the end buyer could you know rent it out for. So we ended up making $12,000, and the proof of concept was there, and we split it 50-50. I had $6,000 in my account, Samir, and I was like, yes.
I made it.
So that was the first deal, man, and it felt great. And from there, we closed 2 or 3 more deals, and like I said, I had enough cash from the wholesaling transactions to officially buy my first rental. But yeah, wholesaling is a great way to get started, man.
That's amazing, dude. No, it's such um a testament to the process, right? It's not, and you started off with kind of an advanced strategy, if you will, right? Like subject to, that's not a entry level strategy usually, right? Most people don't teach it or talk about it because it's not as common, right?
Yeah.
But you just dove in, and then that's it, and you kind of figured it out, right? Like, so before this transaction, did you know what subject to was? Did you have any clue of what that is about or anything like that?
I didn't have any clue what subject to was, man. And, it was the kind of transaction at the time. Now looking back, is I did a bunch of research on the fly. You know, did a bunch of research on the fly because the lady who was selling the house originally, you know, she wanted too much for the property. But, you know, as I started asking other investors, and I consulted with my older brother, I was trying to, figure out a way how we can make the deal work, right? Because here I was, getting a bunch of no's from other, leads that we had. And here I was with one lady that said, yes, I'm interested in selling my home, but the margins weren't quite there from a traditional wholesale. So I asked around, and subject to came about. And, you know, I knew that I could have kept it for myself, but I guess I was like either scared, or I just wasn't, I don't know what it was, but I just decided to wholesale it off to somebody who actually took it on, and kept kept the payments. And um, we wholesale it to not an investor, but to somebody who actually wanted to live in the property.
Right.
And yeah, so I just learned it on the fly, to be honest.
Nice. So, like, anybody who's listening, right? Like, you might not know these things, you might not know what that strategy is all about, but you can reach out to Tinny. He's gone through it. Now he's has a little bit of regret, right? Like, for not keeping it, but at the same time, he made money, he learned about what it is, right? So then now when he comes across that again, he knows what to do, right? So and
Oh, I'm
it's
keeping it next time.
you're keeping it next time. There you go. These are the people that you want to talk to when you come across these things, right? You may not know everything right off the bat, and odds are you never will know everything, right? But this is why community is so important. So, Tinny, I know you talked about another thing, right? Most people don't do this. Is you took the spare space in your home, and you decided, I'm going to move into that spare space, right? It wasn't even a bedroom, it was a mudroom, right? Like, so talk about that. What I mean, I know that's for a lot of people, that's just out of their comfort zone, right? So to talk about that, like, what was it in your comfort zone? It sounds like you were, I mean, no, it was not fun.
No, I mean, I think you can attest to this too. Through our various conversations, there's a component to, scaling that not a lot of people talk about is, sacrificing, right? Um, you know, I knew that although it wasn't going to be comfortable, but it was something that, um, long term was going to be beneficial to me, right? So I sacrificed personal space for a year. You know, every morning I literally had to move the bed so that it could turn back into a laundry room, and I did that. Excuse me, and I did that like every day for a year, 365 days, like, um, but with the end goal in mind, right? Delayed gratification, because I was saving up a ton. I was cash flowing $550 while still having my day job, and that made all the difference for me to save up and buy my second property, which was always the end goal for me. So although it was, it was definitely out of my comfort zone, like you said, it was just something that I knew I needed to do in order to scale up. So very easy decision.
Yeah. That's the thing, right? It's that delayed gratification component, because you knew what you wanted, right? You knew
Yeah,
the bigger things that you're after. It wasn't just about today, it was about, tomorrow, or 2 years, 3 years, 4 years down the road, right? And so
exactly.
that's amazing. So house hacking, right? Is that what you're currently doing still? Or to tell us about, like, how has house hacking kind of helped you in terms of, growing further?
Absolutely. And to anybody who is listening right now who is, able to buy a single family home, or who currently, has a single family home, house hacking is a great way to achieve short term financial independence. And what I mean by that is it is a way for you to, um, live for free, in a sense where your bills are completely taken care of by the income that you make from having roommates. Either it's completely taken care of, or it's very, very, very limited from having roommates. And to me, that was always the goal, once again, in order to scale up my real estate business, right? Having more income so that I can put back into buying more real estate, which will again, you know, maximize my financial independence. So, um, I read a book by Craig. I think his name is Craig Kurlop.
Hmm.
Um, the book on house hacking, and that was a mind opener. Similar to the way Rich Dad Poor Dad had an effect on me. That book had a huge impact on me because it taught me there's a way that I can leverage my housing in order to be financially free and achieve what I want to do. And as of right now, I still house hack. I have three, roommates right now in my current house, and then I also have four residents at my other property, because I still rent by the room. So seven residents total in a rent by the room model, and man, great, great, great opportunity.
100%. And I'll link that book, but in the notes. I've read that book. It's a great book. It kind of changed my mindset too. I'm like, wow, how can I get creative here? Right. It really forces you to think, outside the box a little bit, and turn what could be, a liability that's costing you money every month into an asset, right? And
Absolutely.
potentially live for free. And that has a snowball effect, right? Like you start having that savings go into now future investments. And it's quickly how quickly you can really become financially free when you start doing things like this, right?
Yeah.
So it's amazing, Tinny. And so,
I love how you put it too. It's a great way to turn a liability into an asset, because don't get me wrong. I mean, to a lot of people, a house is a huge liability, right? Because it's just bills, bills, bills. But you know, great way to say it. So house hacking is a great way to turn a liability into an asset for you. So absolutely.
100%. Yeah. And for people who maybe, aren't in that comfort zone of sleeping in their mud room, or renting by the room. I've done the renting by the room, but, some people might not be comfortable, but they might have a basement or a separate, unit that they can, rent out as well. So that, it's just a lot of creative ways to make it work.
Absolutely.
but so now, you kind of graduating up to a bigger space, right? And I see you, and you talked about, you just closed on that, the multifamily deal, right? So how did that all happen, right? How did you go from that to taking down multifamily properties?
Absolutely. Man, the mindset once again comes back to me wanting to scale, right? I think as entrepreneurs, you know, not even just in real estate, as just entrepreneurs, keeping it very general, I think the goal is always to scale up, right? Um, or at least to me, it's very important. So I realized that although I could house hack my way to the Grant Cardone status, um, I realized that would take years, years and years and years. And, I'm very patient, but I'm not that patient. So multifamily just, made the most sense. And, um, from my wholesaling background, I'm very in tune with acquisition. And I told myself, okay, what if I could just transfer my skills and knowledge from wholesaling into multifamily, right? I have access to the software, the leads, and I know how to talk to sellers. And I just made the switch, man. I really just made the switch overnight to completely targeting off market multifamily. Um, I hired a team of cold callers in the Philippines. I built the CRM, um, and I had my VAs essentially cold call these owners while I was at work, and during lunch, nights and weekends, I would reach out to these owners and do the same spiel, right? Hey, my name's Tinny. I'm looking to invest in the market where you're at, and I'm brand new in the market, but I would love to connect with an investor like yourself to find out more about the market. Oh, and by the way, I'm also interested in buying this multifamily that you own. But no worries if you're not interested in selling. We'd still love to connect as fellow investors. And you know, that allowed me to leverage two things: to leverage the knowledge of multifamily from experienced investors, but to also have an opportunity to purchase multifamily. And so to this day, you know, and even when I started 4 months ago, I would take the time to meet with these multifamily owners. And I still take the time to meet with these family owners, grab a bite to eat, lunch, coffee, dinner, um, and build rapport, get to know them, and hopefully get a property on contract. Um, and one day during lunch, I get a lead came in for my VA, and it was a 6 unit in Hickory, North Carolina, great market. Um, and I noticed that in the notes, my VA wrote that this owner wanted $400,000, and I was like, okay, like there's an asking price here, and it's a 6 unit. And I did the price per door math, quick math. I was like, oh, that's not too bad for North Carolina. As a
A
matter of
little less than
fact,
100,000. Yeah.
I know, right? I was like, yeah, okay, let me, dive in more. I called the lead for a month and a half. Nobody was picking up. Nobody was picking up. Nobody was picking up. But I kept calling, left voicemails. And one time during lunch, I called and this owner picks up, right? Chad. He picks up. And the first thing I say, man, you are a tough person to reach. And we both start laughing, and we start talking. Next thing I know, we schedule time to meet at a local Panera Bread, and his wife is there, and we really get to know each other. Turns out they were house hacking too. When they first started, they were house hacking a duplex. And I was
Right.
like, it's awesome. And I start telling them, hey, just a few months ago, I was sleeping in a laundry room. And we start laughing and just getting to know each other. And um, a few days afterwards, we meet at the 6 unit, and he tells me, about the property and how much he wants for it, and got it on a contract from there. And Yeah.
The rest is history.
Yeah. That's history, exactly.
Dude, that's amazing. And it's I remember you tell me about this because it was a journey, right? It wasn't just like a hey, I called and I got it under contract, right? You kept doing it, you kept going at it, the follow up, the follow up, the follow up, right?
Yeah.
And one thing you said there that I want to highlight is you were focused on building a relationship.
Yeah.
You weren't focused on just the deal or getting the contract, but you wanted to actually meet with people and actually talk to them and learn from them and hear their journey, hear
Yeah.
their story, right? And so that's huge, right? And it is a relationship business at the end of the day, right? It's all about the relationships, right? So I know you told me something crazy is that like they invited you over for dinner, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That,
how
that
did that
was,
happen?
man, that was, I loved every bit about this transaction. And it wasn't even, like, I can't even call it a transaction, so to speak, because it was very, we connected on a very deep level. So after going through inspections, after going through my due diligence, and really taking a deep dive at the market, I realized that I was frankly just, plain and simply overpaying for the property at the time. The property needed work, but not a crazy amount of work. Um, but given the area, and the potential, the ARV, things like that, I was just overpaying for the property. And so I respectfully sent an email to um, Chad and Angela, um, and I just highlighted, my position. I gave them the inspection report. I gave them, all of the contractor bids that I had, super transparent. And I was like, here's what I have, and here is why I just can't pay for the price. I thought that I generally could pay, right? Because I don't believe in retrading, right? Like I just don't think that it's it's a good way to do business. Um, but I just said, hey, I completely understand if we can't make the deal work, but as of right now, I just can't pay for the current price. And I got a text back, and I think I shared that in my group, Failing to Success in Multifamily. I got a text back that said, hey, Tinny, we got your email, and although we're disappointed, we still want to make the deal work. Come over to our house for dinner. Let's talk about it. And I was like, what?
Who are these people?
What is going on? And so we scheduled a time, and I get there, and like I just get welcomed into the house. Their kids were there, and we're not even talking about the deal. Like we're just talking, like having a good time, food, drinks, like just grand old time. And dinner wraps up, and now we're at the table, we're talking, and start going back and forth. I tell them my position, they tell me their position. So after about 10 or 15 minutes of conversation, they basically tell me, hey, Tinny, we want to sell the property to you, right? We want to sell the property to you. We get calls, mailers all the time about people that want to buy the property. And frankly, we could sell this property for close to what we have it on the contract here with you, but we want to sell it to you, and we want to make the deal with. Um, and something that I forgot to mention too, Samir, in the email, I had said the price where I needed to be at in order to make the deal work. And so, so they knew where I needed to be, and they wanted to sell the property to me. And we agreed very close to where where I said my purchase price, where I needed to be at. And I'm not going to say prices and whatnot, but well, from 400,000, I got it at 318,000.
Wow.
Yeah. So I got a $82,000 discount, or price reduction, from where we originally had it on the contract.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah. When I tell you that I went home, and I literally had an out of body experience driving back home, and it was an hour drive, and I was like, that just happened. And yeah, man, just super blessed. Um, for them to provide me with an opportunity to get into my first multifamily deal. Um, and I sent them gifts. I've thanked them so many times because they really did provide me with an opportunity to get into my first deal. And
Yeah, they
that's
opened the door for you, right?
yeah,
They allowed you into the world.
exactly.
And that's amazing, and that goes to show you, right? Like that's the power of building relationships. You might not get an $82,000 discount, but it's you are actually in talks, right? Like people want to work with you. People like to do business with people that they like,
Yeah.
trust, right? Like that whole saying. Like that's so true. And they could have got top dollar, but that's not what they're after, right? Like they wanted to go and maybe they found some resemblance of themselves in you, right? Like,
Yeah.
they were house hacking and they saw, wow, this guy's coming up, like
Yeah.
so it's huge. And two things I want to touch upon there is one, for anybody that doesn't know, retrading it's just a concept, like where once you're under contract, you start renegotiating the price, right? Or terms where because something happened. And it's usually generally a bad practice, at least in the multifamily space, just because you develop a reputation as somebody who does that. Right.
Mhm.
And so if you do that often enough, people tend to maybe not want to work with you as much. Right. So
Mhm.
that's just a reputation thing. And then I will link Tinny's Facebook group called Failing to Success in Multifamily in the notes. So that's an amazing group. Tinny, I know you're super passionate about that, and it's something that you've gone through, right? So it's you're really transparent about your journey and what your challenges have been, your failures, but quote unquote now becoming successes, right? So
Sure.
I love it, man. I love the whole concept. So when you first got started, right? When you're living in Vermont, you're wholesaling. Did you think that you would be at this place, like of taking down your first multifamily? Did you think that was going to happen?
Man, to be completely honest with you, no. Ownership, just owning a house was not even something that grazed my mind. Um, but after going through enough transactions from wholesaling, I realized, man, like I can actually do this, but actually be on the end buyer side of things, right? I can actually be a buyer in this, right? If I can facilitate a transaction from start to finish, I can actually be on the other end of that transaction, actually own the asset. And to answer your question, no, I never actually thought that I would own a multifamily property, right? Owning a larger building is just not on my radar. But I'm very thankful to be in a position where, we talk about this, Amir, like where I've been around individuals who do bigger and better things to have that personal mindset shift of, oh, if they can do it and here's how they do it, I can also do it myself. So
Your community, right? Your people you surround yourself with, right? That the whole saying is like you're the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with,
that,
right?
that's the
So
one.
it's
That's
huge.
the
It's
one.
so big, and you did a few things there, right? You found a mentor, your brother or other folks, other investors, right? Other people you could rely on and talk to, and maybe consult with, and then
Lenders.
two, and then surrounding yourself with a group of people like that, right? That
Yep.
just are doing the same things, that have the same mindset, doing and want to achieve what it is you want to achieve, right?
Yeah.
So amazing, bro, amazing. So
Appreciate
for somebody that's just starting out, right? Like let's say you maybe going back and talking to yourself a few
it.
years ago, right? Telling yourself, hey, what would you tell yourself, like to get yourself to the position you are now?
Get as uncomfortable as possible while trying to accomplish your goals. Get outside of your comfort zone, um, and network. It's so crazy because everything good that has happened to me within real estate, like the milestones that I've been able to accomplish, and it's not much, like, there are people who have done bigger and better, but the few things that I've been able to accomplish has been through networking, you know. But like before qualifying for my two single family homes that I own, I went through many lenders. They all said no, right? They all said no. Hey, your debt to income ratio is this. You're not making enough money, such and such. But I went to one meetup, man, and I met another investor, and I told him the challenge that I was having, and he said, "Oh, I know a lender. Here's Damar's information." and he's a loan officer, man, and he's helped me qualify for my 2 single family homes. And this is coming from a person who, I'm very introverted, very introverted, and I don't, it's hard for me to step out and connect with other people, like out of the blue. But it was uncomfortable for me to go to meetups, and now I make it a priority to network and build relationships with other investors, because I see how it's changed my life. Same thing with the 6 unit. I met my business partner at a multifamily meetup, right? So I would encourage individuals to get really uncomfortable, go outside of their comfort zone, and network. Two major things, and obviously, education is third as well, right? Super important to educate yourself, read, listen to podcasts, go to events, learn. So yeah.
I would 100% agree with everything you just said there, because I'm naturally, similar in that way, introvert at heart, and just want to, do my own thing, and just, but you need to get to that point. You need to go out there and, do it at your own pace. Like, like you don't have to go out and speak to 1,000 people at an event, right? Like take steps, right? Like you went to a meetup, right? And start talking to somebody, and it's crazy how many doors you can be opened up, right? And you do get better at it. It's one of those things that it's a work in progress. Like it's not just you're automatically good at it, right? So
100%, man, 100%, dude. Like I make it I'm not sure how you do it, but like let's say that I go to a conference, for example, I make it a point to speak to the first person I see, regardless of who it is. I just go, "Hey, my name is Tinny,"
Yep.
And that just helps me like get into the groove of okay, person to person. Like I just make it a point. First person I see, "Hey, my name is Tinny. I do this. What do you do?" And it's networking for any business venture is key, man. And you just have to get it out of your mind that put your comfort zone like away for a little bit, and just get around the room of the people that can really change your life. So
100%, just do it. So Cindy, what's next, right? What's your goals for 2022? What else are you looking to do this year?
Very good question. So what's next for me is I am going to get into larger multifamily assets. So I am targeting 20 plus units now. I have 20 plus units in my radar. I want to be in the 20 to 100 unit by the end of this year. And there's a couple things that I'm doing to get there, right? Actually, I have my daily action plan written on like in front of me that I look at every day. I'll reach out to one person and connect to multifamily investing. That's every day. I'll call my leads during lunch, weekends, and free time. I will educate myself about multifamily investing, and I will underwrite a deal a day. So those are my daily action plans to get to 100 units by the end of this year. And another thing too is that I'm very, very focused on is getting into LP ventures. So I would like to actually park my money into limited as an LP into much larger deals. And I'm not an accredited investor, and so I'm looking for opportunities for not accredited investors to for me to take a look at. That's on the real estate side. And then I'm also planning to read 100 books this year. Shout out to Audible, makes it easier to do that.
Love it.
And just looking to also donate, right? Like I'm looking to donate to various mental health ventures, because I think that's also a huge part of anybody's journey, right? To be successful in life is to battle mental health. And so just looking to donate money into different causes. So those are my biggest goals for the year.
I love it, man. You're doing some big things, and I'm proud of you, man. You're gonna make it happen. I know it. So yeah, bro.
But I'm proud of you too, Samir. Like you have no idea, man, because I know you make it a priority to network, and I know you make it a priority to educate yourself. And it's just so amazing to see where you're going to be in the next 5 to 10 years. And I'm just hoping that that like I can be around your circle when you're when you're in the Grant Cardone uh, level, because yeah, you're really going to be very successful, not only in the real estate space but just in life in general.
Thank you, brother. That really means a lot, And so I see you doing this one thing, and I'm like, I gotta catch up to Tinny, and they're just like, you just go like this. So it's just surrounding yourself with the people, right? It's like, you motivate me, it just kind of goes back and forth, right? And
Yes, sir.
so thank you,
Part
brother.
of the
Really,
circle, right? Like be around the people that will motivate you and that are doing better than you.
exactly.
That's going to allow you to reach their level as well. So
100%, 100%. So for anybody that wants to reach out to you, what's like the best way to connect with you? Do you have a preferred method for anyone to kind of approach you?
absolutely, man. Yeah. Facebook is a great way to directly get in contact with me. My name is Tinny Colin. That's TINNY COLIN. So yeah, just send me a message. Would love to connect with you. I make networking a priority on my day to day, and Instagram as well. Same thing, Tinny underscore Colin. Yeah, just send me a message. Would love to hop on a call with you to see how I can help you in your multifamily journey, and not just in real estate too. Anything that you may need, reach out to me and be happy to be a resource.
Yeah, I'll link it below so then they can just find your Facebook and IG.
Perfect.
Yeah, yeah, man. Okay, well, Tinny, again, thank you, man. I really appreciate you coming on. It's been awesome to have you, bro. Your journey is super inspirational, and I know you have a lot of value to provide so many. So, thank
Yeah,
you,
thanks for
brother.
the opportunity, brother. Thanks for the opportunity to be on your show. Really had a good time. This was a nice convo.
Thanks, man. Take care now.
All right, bro. Bye.